Chester County Marketing Group on-air show. Good morning. I'm Carla Wilson, owner of Wilson Media Services, and I'm joined by my colleague,
Jeff Tincher, owner of 610 Digital.
Our Chester County Marketing Group on-air show is a bi-weekly show of about 10 to 30 minutes in length in which we share our expertise in internet marketing with small business owners so that you are increasing and improving your marketing and gaining more clients. So today's topic, we wanted to discuss some email segmentation, but before we hop onto that topic, I wanted to remind you that if you are watching this show via YouTube, that's typically what is embedded on our webpage at chescomarketing.com, or you're watching on YouTube, click the little yellow graphic at the bottom of the screen, and that will navigate you over to our event page where there is a Q&A panel. We would love to have you ask questions or post comments, and hopefully have us answer those questions. We can monitor those during the show, so please feel free to do that. Also, we would love it if you would tweet out, if you're watching the show, we would love it if you would tweet out that you're watching, so that we can get some more viewers here to our show. I wanted to say, so here I had something in my script, but I already mentioned what we were talking about. So Jeff, let's start this email segmentation discussion. How about it?
Sure. Let's get rolling since I had the technology issues here today with Google Hangout. Always thinks I never used it before. I've used it many times.
Yes.
But yeah, so I know we were talking about email with some people, and they're, what do you mean by segmenting? It means to chunk out pieces of your list for better use for your email marketing and your online marketing, everything that you're working together from a business, whether you're using a small business or a global business that's sending out to a million people or so. You want to be able to make sure you're sending the emails to the right people. So that's segmenting in itself. So do we want to cover, I believe, some of the top email service providers that we've used, more from the the beginner package, just the small business type, which would be Constant Contact, a vendor called iContact, Vertical Response, and MailChimp. So those are the four that would fall into that. I call it like the small business plan. They're fairly low when it comes to monthly fees and payments. They basically base those fees on the list size. Mm-hmm. I know with MailChimp that I've used for probably 6 or 7 years. With a lot of clients and inside companies and such, is they have a forever free account up to 2,000 people on your emailing list, and they allow you to send up to 12,000 messages a month. That's 6 messages to 2,000 people. That's a lot of email in a month. So it's a good thing to start off with if you don't have a large list. But then if you do, they're like $10 a month up to $150 a month. They could range. So those are some of the basics when it comes to that.
Okay. Well, then let me just start with something about a question about email marketing in general, and then we'll hop into this, email segmentation, which is the main meat of our episode today. Right. So, because MailChimp allows you to send up to 2,000 contacts or up to 12,000 emails a month, does that mean that small businesses should do that?
Not particularly. Should they have 2,000 people on their email list? Sure. Should they send 6 messages in 1 month? Probably that's a lot to start off as a small business, because you have a very small base and such like that. Do you want to get all the same messages from the same company every week? Every week you want to get something new about that? I mean, how often can it really change? To be honest, I would say no. You don't want to be that out there. There's other ways you could also tackle that. You could use your blog. You could use social media. So you're reaching different people and different channels of the marketing to do that. So yes.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you for that clarification. I was playing devil's advocate with that question.
Sure.
Because I think email marketing is something that it's important to a small business. Having someone's email address is important to a small business. I on some levels, I think it's more important than having followers on a Facebook page or people use Circle and G+. It is something that you can contact that person directly. So I know of the importance of that, but I also wanted to make sure that we were kind of giving some best practices advice, I guess, for lack of a better description. So, yeah, probably for most small businesses, 6 emails a month, way too much. Would you say maybe once a week or twice a month? What do you think
really,
for the average small business what should be the frequency?
I think it
depends for the average small business.
It depends on the effort of what you're doing. So if you're a small business and you're all gung-ho in the beginning and you say, wow, I can put an email out once a week, and you start putting things out once a week, and now your customers and everyone expect it once a week, and you find out like, wow, this is a lot to do. Now you're at once a month or twice a month. Now you've cut it back, and your customers might wonder, where do these emails go that I was getting? Or maybe they're also saying, thanks for stopping all these emails that I'm getting. So you have to look at it both ways, and you have to be able to look at the insights and the stats and the reporting that comes on the back end of it and say, are people opening my messages when I send them out once a week? If you see that the numbers are highly up, and you're getting a good open rate and a good click rate on those emails, yeah, send them out every week. That's great. If you send out messages once a week and you find out that you're getting a 10% open rate and like a less than a 1% click rate, which would still be pretty decent, then you might want to cut back and go twice a month, because you really want to get more people engaged with your email. And if it means sending less to get more, then by all means I would probably end up doing that. And again, it bases itself across different companies. If you're a restaurant, or if you're a boutique store or a store would get a lot of foot traffic, you may be able to send out emails more frequently because you have holidays that come up for shopping. You might have a special sale. You may have things like that. If you're a service provider, if you're a plumbing company, or a auto mechanic, or a garage, or a tree service, you're going to probably send out a newsletter. Maybe it's quarterly. And then maybe you follow up with a special that comes every now and then. So again, you look at your business that you're coming into and understand, what do your customers need? What do they really want? And you can determine that by looking back at the reporting of your emails and all these the Constant Contact, iContact, Vertical Response, and MailChimp all do offer some form of reporting back there to say, what was the open rate, what was the click rate, and if so, what were the clicks, what did they click on? Because that's also important. So we've talked about that in the past as well.
Exactly, and I think that that's really the first step in understanding what email segmentation is, understanding your audience, what they really want to open, and what the frequency rate of your emails is. So then let's kind of get down into the technical how-to. How technically would you segment a list? Now, I believe, if I recall, when I set up my MailChimp, because I use MailChimp personally for my Wilson Media Services business, I believe there is a way within the sign-up form that helps the customer decide what segment they're in. Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah, I mean, there's interests and there's groups on the back end inside of MailChimp that when you're signing up for an email list, ask for the name, ask for the email address. You may want to ask, where do they live, all these things. And at the end, you might want to say, hey, are you interested in A, B, or C? So if you're a pet store, and I think we talked about this briefly yesterday, so to give you a story about this so we can remember some of these things and put this into a perspective. If you're a pet store, you sure want to know what people want. Your customers come in. Are they cat owners? Do they own a dog? Are they reptile? Are they bird? That. Now, why do you need to know that? Well, that's starting to do some of that segmenting for you. So if you have a special on cat food, or if you have a special on dog treats and bones and bedding, you're going to send that email to those specific people. So you may have 200 dog owners, 200 cat owners, 200 reptiles, and 200 fish. So you really could send 4 emails, but one email to each of those groups calling out, here are the products we have for cats, here's the products we have for dogs. So it helps you send that email to the right person, so you get a better open, a better click, and a better engagement and response on those emails.
Okay.
And
Okay.
that's the premise of why you'd want to segment a list.
Okay. So it's the right email to the right person at the right time.
Yeah. The right time part's the hard part, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone says that to the right, say the right thing at the right time and all that. So it becomes that. And email, I mean, it gets in there, it gets in an inbox, it sits there. If they don't read it right away and they don't delete it, maybe they'll read it the next day. So it has that more stickiness to it and stays around, and it is one of the most preferred and the one channel that keeps things going in the long haul in the
Right.
marketing process. Is email has been there for a long time, and it's going to continue to be there for a long time.
Right, right. Okay, so now I also don't want our viewers to panic, because you're saying, okay, so now you've segmented your list. So we're pretending we're the pet store. We've segmented the list into cat owners, dog owners, fish owners, reptile owners. And you're saying, okay, so we're going to send these emails to the specific groups. So does that mean we have to create 4 unique emails to these groups of people?
Yes and no. If you have some programming, or if you understand MailChimp, there's some code that you can put in, and they describe it. I've done this for things. Is you could say, okay, I want this image to show up at the top of the page if they're dog owners, and preferable dog owners. I mean, you can't win if they own a dog and a cat. You could send to both, but you're not going to send both emails. Okay, you're going to send one, and it's going to have both on there. You could take little snippets and say, if you are in this group, then show this copy of content. Show this over here. But your email in general is going to have the same elements on the page, because just because I'm sending an email out to the dog owners does not mean that I don't want to put anything about cat, fish, and reptiles. What if they forgot to update their preferences? Same thing goes for if you own a different company. If you want to do, if you're a services company, so you don't own a store, but you service an area, you may want to take on and say, and for people living in our area, where do you live? Do you live in Westchester? Do you live in Exton? Do you live in the main line? Do you live out in Lancaster County? Do you live in Philadelphia? If, depending how big your service area is, you might want to know exactly where, you do want to know exactly where your people and your customers live, because now you can say, hey, we're running a special over here on in your area because you had storm damage because of a bad storm. So I'm a tree service and knock down trees, so I can go and say, people in Downingtown, I'm going to be offering this kind of a sale or a promotion because I'm going to come out and help you do that. So there's another form of segmenting, is by location.
I think that's a really great example for people. So just to reiterate what you said, you can create an email template, but that changes out one portion of the email based on the email segment. So yes, as you said, yes, I'm creating 4 separate emails, but no, it's not completely unique for unique emails. It's kind of the same, but there's a little bit of overlapping with the content based on, and then, pardon me, the kind of the highlight area of the email would be based on what segment you're sending it to.
Yeah, because you want that to be they call it like a hero spot, or like the top bar, or the top image, or the best story or article that you're putting out there. You want that to be to the audience that you want to talk about, because you want to get them to read it, click on it, and come visit your website or come call you, or what they need to do. So,
yeah.
But to be honest, I mean, just a little slightly more on the technical side of things, inside of MailChimp, I know it can be done. I don't know about the other 3, if you can do the if in this group put this, or else if in this group do this, but there is that code, and it's basically an if, then, or if, else, and then format on the email to put that in.
All right, fantastic. All right, so can we think of any other segmentation advantages for folks before they go and start taking a look at their mailing list? I guess one thing we could suggest is, we're coming to the end of the second quarter. It's not a bad idea to do some summer cleanup, go through your list, maybe checked all the bounced emails, get rid of the bounced emails, or see if
Yep.
maybe you've got some formatting issues in there that are keeping your email from going through successfully to people. What other suggestions could we offer?
That's a good one, because there is one more really main purpose of segmenting lists, and that is by the engagement level. Again, I'll go back to MailChimp since that's my preferred, and I've used that many times. Is they have a ranking system to tell how engaged your email list members are with your campaigns and your emails that are sent out. They will, if you were a new subscriber to an email list, you'll get like a 3-star. Okay, if you start to open them and click on them, you'll move up in the ranks to 4 and 5, which means, okay, this person's opening up pretty much every single email that I send out. If you start to go into the 2 and the 1, the 2s and the 1s in MailChimp's ranking systems, it does change. Some of their definitions have changed. So from how I understand things, is 2 means, you know what, they're still on your list, they haven't done much. The 1s are, you know, they've had a couple soft bounces, and they might even, and if they hard bounce, which means their email is gone, they'll just be removed off of that system. So MailChimp will automatically cleanse your list from a hard bounce, which means, the email no longer exists. Maybe you typed it in wrong, maybe they typed it in incorrectly, so it's not going to ever deliver. A soft bounce is something, for a definition in email marketing, is if you're on vacation and you get a bounce back that says, I'm out of office, or if you get one that's an email that comes back and says, I'm sorry, I'm undeliverable at this time. Maybe the mail server's having a problem, or what happens, the mail just doesn't get there. So in a lot of these email systems, is they'll give you up to like 3 or 5 soft bounces before they'll clean that email off for you. So that's a piece of way of getting those cleaned, is by using an email system that'll automatically clean your emails and get rid of those bounces. If not, like Carla said, you want to go in and do that. But what I started here saying was, if you have the engagement level, you can use that, and then what's called out a re-engagement campaign, where you say, for anyone in MailChimp that has a 2 or 1 star, you can send out something that says, hey, you know what, we see you haven't been, you know, opening our emails. We'd like to have you resubscribe. Okay, so basically it's a 3-step process. You send them out an email that says, hey, I'd like you to resubscribe, click this button. If they click it, all you're doing is just sending them to your website. But inside of MailChimp services, they'll say, oh, this person engaged with an email, so let me give them a 3-star. So now they're back up into the norm, like where they are, so they won't be removed in the next time. A couple weeks later, you send out another one that says, hey, we noticed you didn't respond to the last email or resubscribe. That's fine. If you'd like to unsubscribe, click here. If you'd like to continue receiving this, click on this link. If not, in 1 week, we're going to just cleanse our list and remove you. So what you're doing now is you might be taking, you think that's a little bit different. Like, why would I want to take people off my list? If I have 1,000 people, I want 1,000 people. If 1,000 people are never opening your email, it's not like you have 1,000 anyways. So maybe 400 open it and 600 people no longer have that email. What that'll show you is you'll get a better open rate, you'll get a better click rate. So you're going to actually see the real value of who you're talking with, and you can make better choices. So again, cleanse those lists and get rid of the people that don't really communicate with you and engage.
Exactly, and put a little bit of investment of time up front, and then you're not doing so much guessing or so much wringing your hands of why aren't people opening this email. I think the more organized you can be, and the more you rely on the metrics of those emails, it will help you really be efficient with your email marketing as well. You know who's opening the emails, and just kind of like you said, cleansing out the folks that aren't even opening it in the first place. So right. It will just make your metrics better and easier for you to measure. And when the metrics are really clear, that really helps you make the decisions that you would like to with your marketing. Yeah. So let's move on. Let's remind folks when our next in-person meeting is for the Chester County Marketing Group. I believe we set for June 25th. Am I right?
Yep, June 25th, a Wednesday night. Speaking on like local search engine optimization and reviewing. We're going to have a guest speaker come in. His name's Kirk. He's the owner of Kirk's Landscaping, and he's going to come and give a short presentation on how he's been using a lot of the digital marketing channels for improving his business and making it online. So he does a lot when it comes to the different things. So again, that's going to be Wednesday, June 25th, and it's going to be at the Liberty Union Bar and Grill in Chester Springs, PA.
Fabulous, fabulous. And our meetings typically start 6 o'clock. We have networking for about an hour until 7. We sit down, we have some dinner, and then presentations happen, and then we tie up the presentations and have a little bit more networking. So we hope that you will join us. Be sure to check out the events that we list on our website at chescomarketing.com. Follow us with the hashtag ChescoMG, and we hope to see you all soon. Thank you all for tuning in today. See you in a couple of weeks.
All right. Bye-bye.